Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Om Ajnantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dalati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapadakamalang Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarva-bhūtānāṁ Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dhinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaniswari Vishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kipasindhuvyayivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, Chapter 14, the three modes of material nature, text number 3. Mama Yoni Mahad Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadhāmi Aham sambhavaḥ sarva-bhūtānāṁ tataḥ bhavati Bharata. Word for word meaning: Mama, my, yoni, source of birth, mahat, the total material existence, Brahma, supreme, tasmin, in that, garbham, pregnancy, dadhāmy, create, aham, I, sambhavaḥ, the possibility, sarva-bhūtānāṁ, of all living entities, tataḥ, thereafter, bhavati, becomes, Bharata, O son of Bharata. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth. And it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. Everybody please repeat. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth. And it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O scion of Bharata. Purport. This is an explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to the combination of kshetra and kshetragya, the body and the spirit soul. This combination of material nature and the living entity is made possible by the Supreme God Himself. The mahat is the total cause of the total cosmic manifestation, and the total substance of the material cause, in which there are three modes of nature, is sometimes called Brahman. The Supreme Personality impregnates the total substance, and thus innumerable universes become possible. This total material substance, the mahat, is described as Brahman in the Vedic literature. Mundaka Upanishad, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 19. Tasmad etad Brahma nama rupam anam cha jayate. The Supreme Person impregnates that Brahman with the seeds of the living entities. The 24 elements beginning from earth, water, fire, and air are all material energy, and they constitute what is called mahad Brahma, or the great Brahman, the material nature. As explained in the 7th chapter, beyond this there is another superior nature, the living entity. Into material nature, the superior nature is mixed by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore all living entities are born of this material nature. The scorpion lays its eggs in piles of rice, and sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice. But the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause of the birth of the living entities. The seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they only seem to come out as products of material nature. Thus, every living entity, according to his past activities, has a different body created by this material nature, so that the entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deeds. The Lord is the cause of all the manifestations of living entities in this material world. Mama yonir mahad Brahma tasmin garbhaṁ dadhāmi aham sambhavaḥ sarva-bhūtānāṁ tato bhavati bhārata. Mama yonir mahad Brahma. So the whole material existence did not happen by chance, like what the scientists are saying. They're saying that, oh, everything happens by chance. Big Bang. There is a Big Bang, and then everything appeared the way it is. There was a nice cartoon I've seen. There's a dynamite, and then the dynamite was exploded before nothing. Then the dynamite was exploded, and then after the dynamite exploded, there was a big building. So is that what it is? So when we say nature, whose nature? That's Krishna's nature. And usually we say Mother Nature, because Mother Nature, through her, she provided all of the ingredients. I mean, the ingredients are there, but by Lord Krishna's glance, in the beginning it was in the sleeping state, but then through Lord Krishna's glance, in his expansion, Karuna Dakashayi Vishnu, then everything comes into being, everything comes into life. So he is the father, Krishna is the father, but then the material energy we call mother, and then from mother combination, he impregnates the living entities. He created the living entities, and through the material energy provides the body, the forms that we have. This body is like, it says that the demigods are responsible. They are the administrators of the universe, and they are responsible for all of these different senses that we have to function. The tongue actually cannot taste. It's dead matter. It can only taste because the demigod gave us the Shakti to taste something. And because the soul is there. So the explanation of the world is here. Combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya. That means, Kshetra means the field of activities, as we've learned from the previous chapter. Kshetra ultimately is a material energy. This body is made of material energy, subtle and gross. We've learned that also from the 13th chapter. And the knower of the field, Kshetragya, is the soul, or ultimately the Paramatma is the knower of everything, and we are only the knower of this body individually. We know this body, but I don't know what's going on with your body or with your mind. When we say body, specifically the mind, mental platform. And therefore, the spirit soul, the combination of the spirit soul with this body, or the living beings coming in contact with the material energy, the only cause is the Supreme Lord. It didn't happen that, we came from nowhere. And Prabhupada will always give an example, just like, if you tell me that you don't have a father, that you don't have a source, I don't believe it. So where did you come from? Therefore, I can tell that you have a source, and your source has another source, or your father has another source, your grandfather. Then it goes on, and ultimately it goes to Lord Brahma. And then it goes on to the, Purusha avatars, and then the source of Purusha avatars is Mahasankarsan or Lord Balaram, expansion of Lord Balaram, and then he goes on to Chaturvyuha, and then he goes on to Lord Krishna himself. So there must be a source. As we will read the next verse, very famous verse, aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father of everything. The seed-giving, the seed are the living entities. Okay? And the material energy is like the soil. So you put the seed in the soil, and then what will happen? It grows. So without the material energy, the covering, the living beings who wanted to enjoy separate from Krishna will not be able to exhibit or express enjoying propensity, or where also the opposite, they become in a miserable state. So with this body, we enjoy or suffer. The body that we have right now, awarded by the material energy due to our desires and due to our activities, by which we can experience the result of our desires and the activities that we performed in the past. And the whole combination of these three modes of material nature, we are put into that as well. And the ropes that binds the conditioned souls into the material energy are the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So in the beginning is like this, the mahatattva. Through impregnation, then there is the total cosmic manifestation. So in the beginning is like this. There is what you call also pradhan, that sleeping state, where by the glance there is the creation. The Mayavadis, they don't believe into this. They don't adhere to this knowledge. They said that everything is a cause of ignorance. Ignorance is the cause of everything. Or they believe that the ultimate cause is zero, is nil. That's what you call sunya bodies also. Sunya means no existence. Maya means illusion. So everything is illusion. There is nothing real. Bhakti is also illusion. Bhagavan is also illusion. The soul also is illusion. It just merged into the Brahman at the time of liberation. But no, it is not so. There is a cause for everything. Nothing happens by chance. That's why we have this small booklet. The Prabhupada was so proud. Life comes from life. It's a book, right? Life comes from life. Or later on also they wrote, we have this section in ISKCON called the Bhaktivedanta Institute, whereby all the members in the Bhaktivedanta Institute, they're all scientists. So they want to present a synthesis of science and religion. Because for the scientists, who are the number one Mayavads, to see is to believe. If I don't see it, I don't believe it. But can you see your mind? You have a mind. Can you see your brain? Of course, the brain is there. If you dissect the head, you'll see the brain substance. But you cannot really capture, or maybe you can capture the electrodes or the electric, electrodes. Sometimes they will put some gadgets in your connection, and they can see the brain waves, but they cannot capture the mind. What to say of intelligence? What is your memory? Or where is your ego? How come if someone calls you in the wrong way, you get affected, you get hurt? Where is this? What to say about the soul? So most of them, they don't, if not all of them, they don't believe that there is a soul. So that's why this Bhaktivedanta Institute, they promoted the science of the soul by having many conferences. Just like our late Srila Bhakti Sarup Damodar Maharaj. He would invite all the famous scientists, all the famous Nobel laureate winners. This Nobel laureate, Nobel is the inventor of dynamite. So he wanted to do a good thing. So those scientists or inventors, they will win this award. Prabhupada says they should give that award to God. They should give that award to Krishna, because He's the one who created the whole thing. But no, they don't accept God, so they believe in human. And again, where does the intelligence of the scientists come from? Where do they? What is it? It comes from the sky, or it came from the air? No, there is a source. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita, I am the intelligence. So yes, Krishna is the source of everything. So sometimes this material cause, says here, mahatattva, and the total substance of the material cause, in which there are three modes of nature, is sometimes called Brahman. That's why there is this verse, Brahmanda. Brahman means the universe or the creation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead impregnates the total substance, and thus innumerable universes become possible. So there's innumerable, practically countless universes in our world, in our part of the kingdom of God. The material world is also part of the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God composes of the spiritual world and the material world. The spiritual world is far greater, 3/4, 75% of the entire creation, and 1/4 or 25% of the entire creation is the material world. And still the material world is so vast. Prabhupada gave an example, just like our universe is compared to like a seed in a bag of mustard seeds. It's practically, well, there's a lot of seeds there, and some universes are far greater in the expanse, the area. It's like, our Lord Brahma only has 4 heads. But in other universes, Lord Brahma has 100 heads, 1,000 heads, 10,000 heads. We've heard that story when Lord Brahma went to see Lord Krishna in Dwarka for a visit. And when he tried to enter the palace of Lord Krishna, the guard says, "Who are you?" And he says, "Oh, I'm Lord Brahma." Well, he thinks he's the only Lord Brahma. And I am the father of the Char Kumaras, the 4 Kumaras. So actually Lord Krishna wanted to teach him a lesson, because sometimes Lord Brahma is very proud. So we've heard that story also, Brahma Bimohan Lila, from the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Lord Brahma cannot figure this out. How come he's asking me, who am I? I'm Lord Brahma. So when he entered the palace of Lord Krishna, he saw many Lord Brahmas. Some have 100 heads, 1,000 heads, 10,000 heads. And when Lord Krishna entered the assembly, all of them bow down at the same time. So figure that out. Try to picture it in your mind, how all of those. And he says that there was some very nice sound, because everyone is wearing their helmets. So like, you know, cling, 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 cling. So, and then now, yes, Lord Brahma, our Lord Brahma has only 4 heads, because our universe is the smallest. So yes, tasmad etad Brahma nama rupam anam chajayate. It is the Supreme Person who impregnates that Brahman with the seeds of the living entities. Yes, the living entities coming in contact with the material energy, and again there is no trace in the history when we come in contact with the material energy. This body has a birthday. It's like today is Dinabandhu Prabhu's birthday. Yeah, according to Gregorian calendar. Or your birthday may be coming soon, or maybe it's already passed. But the birthday of the body in this lifetime. But how many birthdays do you have in different forms? How come they don't celebrate the birthday of the dog? Oh, maybe they do. Especially if, you know, if you're a dog of a Koror Pati or Lakpati, then you have a nice big cake also. But the soul, they don't have, you don't have a birthday. There's no trace in the history where you come in contact and get entrapped or entangled in the material energy. 24 elements, yes, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego, and then there is the 5 working senses, and there's the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So 10 plus 8 plus then if you count the time, different elements, then it all adds up to 24, and ultimately, yes, the 25th is the soul. They don't count it. So in the 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila analyzed these different elements to count, to analyze the material energy. It is called Sankhya Yoga. You can read that further if you wish. So all of this combined is the material energy. But then there is another superior world. So how is it, again, the living entities are superior compared to the material energy? Because material energy ultimately is like matter. Matter means no existence. It is existing, but it is like what you may say, it doesn't have any purpose if the soul is not there. It only has the purpose when the soul comes in contact with the material energy, and ultimately the purpose becomes perfect using this body when we use it for the service of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, it is dead matter, as you may say. Matter means dead. Dead matter. This body also is dead. But the soul is there, then that's why it is alive. That's why I can talk, we can see each other, because the soul is there. But why is it that the soul seems to be entrapped or entangled? How is it that the soul, even though it is superior by nature to the material energy, gets entangled? Why? If we are superior, then we should be beyond. We should be beyond. Ultimately, the soul is beyond the modes of material nature, beyond the material energy. Again and again, the misidentification of the body as the real self puts us into trouble. That is the process whereby the energy of the Supreme Lord seems to be superior. Yes, Maya is strong, but we are stronger, and Krishna is the strongest. Mama Maya Duratyaya Daivihi Isha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mam Evaye Prapajante Mayam Itam Tarantite. This material energy is also divine because it comes from the Supreme Lord. But again, we are in the tataḥ Shakti, the jivas. We can be covered up by the modes of material nature, or we can overcome these modes of material nature if we surrender unto the Supreme Lord. Yes, material nature, it says here, the living entity is superior by nature. But then when it's mixed up by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the living entities are born and can be covered up by the material nature. But still, they don't mix. Oil and water is like oil and water. You cannot mix it. It's not possible. The oil may be seemingly with the water, but the water is not contaminated, or the oil is not contaminated, or the oil is not touched by the water. Waterproof. Waterproof. So similarly, the soul, even though it's within the body, first it has nothing to do with the body, but at the same time, it's covered up. It can be covered up and it can be entangled because of the modes of material nature, namely goodness and passion and ignorance, and the person thinks that I am this, I am that, this is my family, these are my friends, these are my loved ones. So this knowledge actually, of all the knowledge that's been described by Lord Krishna, this is more, you may say, higher knowledge than the previous chapters or previous conversation that Lord Krishna has explained to Arjuna, the modes of material nature. We have to learn how these different modes of nature works. It's very interesting chapter, because then you can check yourself where you are at, which modes are you. If you're in the mode of ignorance, better get out from that. If you're in the mode of passion, better get out of that. At least come to the mode of goodness. There's a saying in English. What's that? Cleanliness is in the mode of goodness. So cleanliness is next to godliness. Hey, you know that too, right? Cleanliness, because mode of goodness means cultivation of knowledge, truthfulness, kindness, good qualities. But Prabhupada says also that being good is not good enough. But goodness is like the stepping stone towards Visuddha Sattva, or pure goodness. And that is our goal. Our goal is ultimately become purified, come to the platform of pure goodness, because that is the platform whereby we can serve Krishna. Right now we're just attempting to serve Krishna. We're just trying to serve Krishna. It's not 100% service. The trying, the effort may be sincere, but because we are still under the modes of material nature. And how we can get out of this modes of material nature? By purifying our senses. Sarvopadi binirmuktam tatparatbena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha. We use our senses for the pleasure of Rishikesh, who is the master of the senses. Sevan mukhi hijibado. Yet Sevan mukhi hijibado. It starts from the tongue. So yes, the tongue. And as Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, of all the senses, the most difficult to control, the most voracious is the tongue. And the tongue has two functions: to vibrate and to taste. So we vibrate chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we vibrate reading from Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures. And we should only taste, use the tongue for just eating Krishna Prasad. Then the senses becomes purified, because it starts. When the senses starting from the tongue becomes purified, that means the belly also, the genitals get purified and controlled, so to speak. And then our thoughts, our mind becomes peaceful. Everything follows. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that. It's all in this one straight line. The mind becomes pacified, and therefore we become completely purified. Intelligence and the ego can understand the purpose of human form of life, only to serve the Supreme Lord. And in this way, in this 14th chapter, we will be able to see ultimately how these different modes affects the living entities and how to get out of it. Lord Krishna will tell us also in the later part of this 14th chapter. It's a little difficult to understand, but you'll be able to understand it clearly later on in the chapter, as the chapter goes on. Something like very technical. The materialists, they don't know this thing, whether they're in the mode of goodness or mode of passion or mode of ignorance. They don't have a clue. For them, everything is fine. Everything is okay. They don't have an idea of this knowledge. And as Prabhupada says, they don't teach this knowledge in the university. Do they teach this in the university? And these three modes is so intricate. It is like the three primary colors. What are they? Red, yellow, and blue. Hey, you still remember. Is it? No, not green. Yellow. Because you mix them, you can have different varieties of colors, like the color of the rainbow, and even beyond. As Prabhupada says, 3 in the beginning, then you mix them all, the 3, then it becomes 9 different colors, then you mix those 9, it becomes 81, then you mix 81, who's good in math, 60 or something, or 600 something, 8 times 8, 64, yes, you use it, squared. So, unlimited arrays of different colors. So the more one is degraded, the more one is covered up, the more one, very difficult to get out, entangled. It's like in the internet, you go to one site, then you go to another site, you go nice site. You're entangled. You can get out. Difficult to get out. And the only way how we can get out is that we surrender. If we understand, and we will learn later on in the later part of this section of the Bhagavad-Gita, the 3 modes of material nature. Alright, we stop here. Do you have any points or questions? Yes? Where is the other mic, please? There's another mic, Prabhu? That would be nice. So they can hear in the internet as well.
Thank you for the class. You mentioned bhakti is illusion.
Huh?
Bhakti is illusion.
For the Maya bodies. Is it illusion? What you're doing is illusion? No. For them, bhakti is whatever you're doing for, let's say, because they don't believe in the Supreme Personality, that God is a person. So whatever you're doing for the Supreme Lord is also illusion. Because He's illusion, so whatever you're doing to serve Him is also illusion. That means bhakti is illusion.
I just want to clear one more thing to you. Here in the line it is mentioned, material nature is not the cause of the birth of the living entities.
Yes.
But again in the third line it is stated, created means thus every living entity according to his past activity has a different body created by the material.
Created means awarded, provided. Okay, the material energy, the origin is Krishna. Material energy is dead, but it's an energy at the same time. Energy that provides your body. Do you follow?
Yeah.
Krishna indirectly is involved in the material world through his energy, the material energy. And the personified material energy is Durga Devi. She is actually Mata. That's why she is called Mata Di.
Yes.
Right? Like when you enter Vrindavan, there's a nice, very beautiful effigy of Mata Di. So when you say Jai Mata Di, you are actually glorifying Mother Nature. Okay, Mother. But who is the Father? It says that Lord Shiva, Yoni. Right? But ultimately, Lord Shiva also is an expansion of Lord Krishna for the function of the superintendent of the modes of ignorance. Lord Krishna is not touched. Lord Shiva is not touched also by the modes of ignorance. He may be the superintendent of the mode of ignorance, but he is also transcendental. The same with Mother Parvati or Durga or Kali. These are all expansions. And she is an expansion of Srimati Radharani. Like the queens of Vrindavan, the goddesses of fortune, and Durga Devi. Because Shakti Shakti Tattva. Okay, energy. Material nature is not the mother. Is ultimately the mother is there, but ultimately it is Lord Krishna who created us, but then He clothed us. She clothed us. Material energy gave the cloth to you. Okay, she is like the tailor. Provided your cloth. Just like I'm sure somebody stitched your clothes, right? And it fits you perfectly. So this body fits perfectly to my soul because of the desire of the mind. Okay? The mind desires to have this body. So this body was created or provided or gifted by the material energy, being the different elements, these 24 elements. Do you understand? It's a little complicated. I was thinking, how am I going to explain this to you? It's not so easy for me also to explain. I cannot figure out how. It's like sitting here. I have to speak. I cannot figure out how am I going to explain this to you. But I hope I reach a certain point that there is some explanation to this. But later on it'll be clear. Because this is very deep. We can explain more in a different scientific way or technical way, but we don't want to touch too much on that one because Bhagavad-Gita is ABC. It's very, very complicated. You have a question, Prabhu? Yes. Go ahead. Where is the other speaker? Is a speaker there? Why is it there's echo? Okay. All right, sir. Go ahead. You can use it. Go ahead. You can use it. Try it. But this is too loud. Can you adjust the sound over there, please? Is the red cable? It's not adjusted properly. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribol.
Maharaj, like the example analogy is given.
Yeah.
Scorpion.
The scorpion.
Yes.
The scorpion lays the eggs on the rice, pile of rice, and people think that the rice is the cause of the small scorpions to come out, but it's not. Right? So, it's the same thing. Material energy may be there, but ultimately the cause is Krishna. Krishna was the one who impregnates the seeds, the living entities, to the material energy. Material energy is not the cause. For the scientist, it's like, what? Life comes from matter. It is not. Life comes from life. So, life, the jivas, comes from life, the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Do you understand?
Yes, Maharaj. For me,
For you?
knowledge, small knowledge,
Okay.
I born for my parents.
Yes.
Yes. For my knowledge, my parents is the reason.
No.
They are the creator.
They are instrument for you to experience happiness and joy in this life. You have many, many millions and millions of mothers and fathers. So who is your real mother or father? Who is the real cause? I gave that example this morning. You remember King Chitraketu? Right? King Chitraketu had one son, and then he was asking King Chitraketu. I had many fathers and mothers before. Same thing. This is the son of Shivash Thakur. He says the same thing, right? When everyone is crying. And also, he was revived by Lord Chaitanya. That's amazing. There's a similarity in that story. So who is your real father? Mother Nature, but she became like the instrument for you to have the body. But this body is not your real self. Your real self is the soul. And the soul comes from Krishna. So where did you come from? Who is your original source? Krishna. Do you follow? This is very, very complicated in a sense. You need to, in the beginning, just try to accept it because it's not so easy to understand. I mean, we can analyze it, but yes, sir. Turn it on.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, you were explaining that this body is having birthday.
This body has a birthday, and there's a death day also.
Yes, the soul doesn't have birthday.
No.
So we see that means our soul is internal. We have crossed this 84 millions of life, and then we got the human life.
Yeah, this human form of life is very special.
So 84 million species of life we have already crossed through that one.
Yes, because since time immemorial, we were cats before, we were dogs before, we were cockroaches before, we were worms before. It says at the beginning that we were created, we were demigods. You were given a chance up there. You want to go back, or you want to go to the spiritual world, or you want to enjoy, because the facility is there. Ultimately, we have been to all of these different species of life. And Prabhupada says, don't try to know what you were before, because you will go mad to know who you were before. It's gonna be like so drastic. Just to think about yourself, you know, in the womb of a cockroach. You want to know how is it look like, or what is it? What does it feel like? Even in the womb of our mother is so much suffering. In human platform, what to say of you know, taking birth in those different. Forget about who you were before. That doesn't matter now. It's irrelevant. What is more important is now. Now is the future, and the future is now. Okay, sir.
I don't think in discussion this thinking like Mayavadis.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about the ultimate destination of the soul or something?
They want to merge with Brahman. That is their goal. See, their understanding is that everything is illusion. But then when you come to the realization of Brahman realization, then you want to merge with the Brahma Jyoti, that light effulgence of the Supreme Lord. Sayujya Mukti. They become liberated, but then they get merged into the light, which is another feature of Lord Krishna, but it is considered as hellish. Narakayate. It's hellish. Because the soul has activities. The soul has function. The soul cannot be stationary. It's active. And the symptom of that is just like, when you're, even while you're sleeping.
What is the difference between this Mayavadis and Brahma Bodies?
Brahma Bodies is also not the same as Maya Bodies. Brahma Bodies is they believe in Brahman. Not completely, but almost Mayavad. Almost Mayavad. Just like the four Kumaras, it says that they are Brahma Bodies. They understand the feature of the Supreme Lord as Brahman. But then when they smell the aroma of the tulsi and chandan from Lord Narayan's lotus feet, then that changed their consciousness. Right? Who else is a Brahma Body? Sukadev Goswami. You see, he's a self-realized soul. But he's a Brahma Body. He's not Mayavad. Mayavad actually are offenders. To be an atheist, to know or to make the statement that there is no God, that is better than to say that there is the absolute truth, but he doesn't have any features. That is offensive. A Sunyabadi means zero. Sunya is zero. That the absolute truth is nothing, is zero. And this is the pranam mantra of Srila Prabhupada. He came to the Western world to defeat these Sunyabadis and Mayabadis. So Brahma Bodies, they are transcendentalists. These Mayabadis, you cannot say they are transcendentalists. They're actually in a different level. Transcendental is more like, Brahma Bodies. They understood that feature of the Supreme Lord. But then, Sukadev Goswami has been taught by Vyas. So, that's how it goes. Anything else? Prabhu? Yes. Use the mic if you can reach there.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the class.
Hare Krishna.
Mahesh, what is the difference between dadhāmy and
Yeah, you see, I don't want to be like having this, to be precise. There is this pradhan, which is like the sleeping state, or mahatattva. I believe the mahatattva is the sleeping state, and then pradhan with the glance, it came into being. Mahatattva means the material energy, and then with the glance of Karanadakasayi Vishnu, then the whole entire creation come into being. Sleeping state and wakefulness of the material energy. That is. Now, I'm just, to be precise, which is which, but they are the two ones. That's the meaning of Mahatattva and Pradhan, means material energy in the sleeping state, because in the beginning, nothing is going on. It's like, everything is suspended. And then with the glance, impregnation, that glance is the impregnation of Mahavishnu towards the material energy, and then the creation took place. Okay?
And the second question, Maharaj, you said the four-headed Brahma.
Huh?
Four-headed Brahma.
Yes, Chaturmukh.
Chaturmukha Brahma.
Uh-huh.
And because this universe is smallest,
Yes.
is it that our universe is the smallest?
Our universe is the smallest. So it only takes 4 heads to manage the universe.
So there are Brahma less than 4 heads? No?
Huh?
The least headed Brahma is
Yeah,
4 heads.
no. Our universe is the smallest.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. To manage our movement, it needs 35 heads. the GBCs. Right? Our society is so big, you need 35 heads to manage it. Bigger than our universe. Anything else? Like Mayapur, they need many managers. It's big. Mayapur is big. They have 100 departments. In Vrindavan, we only have 35, maybe close to 40 departments. But the universe, we have electricity department, rain department, heat department, different departments, demigods, administrators. But Brahma is the main one. Okay? So we stop here. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.